Dear Bhante, please help the yogi to take 3 refugee and 8 precepts. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Dhammam saranam gacchāmi.
Dhammam saranam gacchāmi.
Sangham saranam gacchāmi.
Sangham saranam gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchāmi.
Te saranagamanam paripurnam.
Amaphante.
Pānātipātā vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Pānātipātā vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Ādinādāna vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Adinādāna vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Abrahmacharya vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Abrahmacharya vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Musāvādā vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Musāvādā vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Surameraya majjapamadatthana vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Surameraya majjapamadatthana vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Vikala bhojana vīramani sikkhapadam samadhiyāmi.
Vikala bhojana เวรมณีสิกขาบาดังสัมมาดิยามิ
นัจจา
นัจจา
กีตา
กีตา
วาดิตา
วาดิตา
วิสุขดัสสนา
วิสุขดัสสนา
มาลากันธา
มาลากันทา
วิเลปนา
วิเลบานา
ธารณา
ดารณา
มันดนา
มันดานา
วิบูสนัฏฐานา
วิภูสนาธานา
เวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิ
เวรมณีสิกขาบาดังสัมมาดิยามิ
อุจจาสยนา
อุจจาสยนาม
หาสยนา
มหาสยนา
เวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิ
เวรมณีสิกขาบาดังสัมมาดิยามิ
ติสรณเยนะสหอัตถังกัสสมนากตังอุโปสถสีลังธัมมังสาธุกังสุรคิตังกัตวาอัปปมาเดนะสัมปาเดธา
อามาพันเตสาธุสาธุสาธุ Please, Bante, with compassion, give us the Dhamma talk for tonight.
Today is 26th of December 2024. Yesterday I talked about the development of mindfulness and the immediate benefits that we can enjoy by development of the mindfulness. Today I will talk about the two features, two qualities in order to sharpen the mindfulness so that we can develop a good concentration, so that we can develop deep concentration. In fact, these two features are not only to sharpen the mindfulness, but also to sharpen energy, to sharpen concentration, to sharpen wisdom, to sharpen faith and confidence. Or we can say that to improve, to progress in meditation. Or today we are going to talk how to make progress, how to improve in meditation. Everyone here definitely wants to improve, to progress in the meditation. So that's why today we are going to talk about two main features. In fact, there are 9 features that we can apply in order to improve in meditation, but I'm going to talk only 2 because these 2 are the main features. The first feature is practicing respectfully, practicing in a reverential manner. This is the first feature we need, meditators need in order to progress in meditation. How to practice in reverential manner? how to practice respectfully. In order to understand this feature, texts mention the few more qualities under this topic. So I will talk those qualities under this topic. The very first quality is in Pali, Chakhu Massa Yatha Andho. I repeat, Chakhu Massa Yatha Andho. It means, though meditators have eyesight, they have to behave as if blind. So that means meditators should behave as blind people. Though meditators can see, though meditators has capability to see, have to behave like blind. Again, what is the meaning of behaving like a blind person? Whether Buddha insists us to be a blind? Of course not. Here it does mean that we have to take the behaviors, we have to copy the behaviors of a blind person. That is, a blind person has no interest at all in visible objects. He or she has no interest. He or she does not take interest. He or she does not give priority in looking, in watching, in seeing. He or she does not look around, so he has or she has no interest at all with visible objects. Similarly, yogis, meditators should take that behavior, means meditators should not take interest in visible objects. It means meditators should not look here and there, should not gaze here and there, should not stare here and there, should not take interest the surrounding vision, means should restrain eyes. That is the main point. Yogis, meditators should restrain their eyes. They always should cast down their eyes. They should always look just right in front there. We like to look here and there if there is something fascinating things, interesting, pleasing things. We like to look. We like to take a look, and mostly we do so. And that is what here mentioned we should not do. Because if we do so, then we are not paying attention in our meditative object. We are not mindful mostly at that time. So we lack mindfulness. And when we lack mindfulness, then kilesas have chance to arise in our mind stream. When we see pleasing object, greed tends to arise, attachment tends to arise. When we see unpleasing object, anger tends to arise when we are not mindful. So here, we are practicing meditation in order to purify our mind. So we can't easily admit, we can't easily permit kilesas to enter in our mind stream. If we want to improve, then we have to restrain our eyes, because restraining, controlling the eyes is practicing respectfully in this field, as mentioned in text. So, in order to improve in our meditation, we have to control our eyes, or we have to behave as if we are blind. What if we have to look? At that time, we have to look, or we have to watch mindfully. If there is the condition to look, if there is the condition to watch, we should do mindfully. While looking, we have to note, looking. And while looking, if we see something, then we note as seeing. If we recognize something, then we note recognizing. If we know something, then we note as knowing. So in this way, if we have to look something, if we have to watch something, at that time we do mindfully, otherwise we restrain our eyes. The second one is Sotava Badiro Yatha. In Pali, Sotava Badiro Yatha. That means behaving like a deaf, though we have a capability to hear, or we have capability to listen. This is the another quality or the feature needed in order to practice respectfully. Though yogis, meditators, have capability to listen, to hear, they have to behave like a deaf. They have to behave like they can't hear. Again, a deaf has no interest at all in audible objects. He or she does not have interest at all. Similarly, meditators should not have interest in audible objects, sounds, voice, which are coming from around. Because if we take interest and listen, again, when pleasing sound is there, attachment arises. When unpleasing sound is there, then anger tends to arise. That is why we have to behave like a deaf person. We have to behave like a deaf. We should not take interest in audible objects. By any chance, if we have to listen, then we have to do it mindfully. If we are listening, then note as listening. If we hear the sound, then immediately we note hearing, in order to not to give chance to kilesas to arise. In this case, we should not clog our ears with earbuds or with cotton in order to avoid the audible objects. That is not the right way to do. In my some retreat, I have seen that kind of yogis in order to avoid sounds, or when we talk about this topic, to behave like a deaf, they clog their ears by earphone or the earbuds or cottons. That is not the right way. We should not do that. What we need to do is, we should not take interest. We should not take interest to the sounds which are coming from around. By any chance, if we hear something, then immediately we should try to note as hearing. By any chance, if we have to listen something, we note listening. That is what we need to do. The third one is Panyavasa Yathamugo. We have to behave like ignorant, though we have so many knowledges. Though we have so many theoretical knowledge about practice, about the Buddha's teachings, we have to behave like we know nothing, we know nothing. Similarly, though we have practiced many times in the past, though we have a lot of experiences about meditation, we have to behave like we know nothing about the meditation, like we have to behave like we have no experiences at all. When we think we have so many theoretical knowledge about the Dhamma, theoretical knowledge about the practice, or when we think we have lots of experiences, the very first thing tend to arise is proud, conceit arise, and Pali mana arise. And when we have mana, conceit, proud, that mana hinders in practice, so that we can't improve, we can't make progress in practice. He or she might think, oh, I know about the practice, I know how to practice, I know the technique, I don't need to listen to the teacher because I have theoretical knowledge, I have experiential knowledge, I have practiced so many retreats, I have joined so many retreats, I have participated so many retreats, so I know I don't need to listen the teacher, I can do myself. That kind of pride will arise, and when he or she has such a pride, he or she will not listen to teacher. At times he or she overtakes the teacher, and in that way also he or she can't improve in meditation. At the same time, he or she keeps analyzing, criticizing the other yogis, fellow yogis. He or she will look around, will check how other fellow yogis are practicing, doing, and he or she starts to criticize or analyze. Oh, that yogi is not doing right way, or this is not the way to practice. This is not how the teacher mentioned to do, or this is not what I know about the meditation. This is not the way of practicing. He is not doing right thing. In that way, he or she might be criticizing, analyzing to other yogis. At times he or she even might tend to teach other meditators, oh, you should do this way, you should not do that way. Instead of practicing meditation, he might be analyzing, he might be judging, he might be criticizing, or he might be teaching. If he or she keeps doing so, then how he or she can improve in meditation? That's why the third feature is mentioned. Although we have so many knowledge, theoretical or practical knowledge, we have to behave like an ignorant who knows nothing. Again, he or she might be comparing with the text, what is mentioned in the text and what he or she is experiencing right now. Or text mentioned like this, I'm experiencing like this, or he or she might be connecting, he or she might be comparing with the text, with the theory, and that is not the right way to do. While practicing, we have to just focus into the practice. This is not the time to compare, to connect with the theory. Right now we have to listen to the teacher, we have to focus into the practice, then only we can improve. We have to behave like an ignorant and a very new yogi who have no experience about meditation at all. Because if we think again like oneself, an experienced yogi or a yogi who has practiced many times before, he or she again might compare his experiences with the experiences he had in the past. Oh, I experienced in last retreat like that, this time in this way, or maybe he or she might be expecting for the experiences that he had or she had last time. Again, he missed to observe the presently arising object. There is no room for analyzation, judgment, for comparing, for criticism, for thinking during the practice. Yogis, meditators have only one job or duty to do, that is to observe the presently arising object and to note. In case if mind thinks, then we have to note thinking. If mind analyzes, then we have to note analyzing. If judging, then have to note as judging, and so on. Panyavasayatha mugo, in this Pali, muga also means a dumb or a mute who can't speak. It has two meanings. One we have already talked, I have already talked, that is ignorant, behaving like an ignorant. And the second is to behave like a dumb or mute who can't speak. So that means we have to behave like we can't talk, we can't speak, like we are dumb or we are mute. That means we have to keep silence. We have to keep noble silence. That is why on the very first day I mentioned yogis should not talk with yogis should not communicate with each other. We have to keep noble silence. So it was under this topic. It was under this topic. If we want to improve in our meditation, we have to be silent, we have to keep noble silence. There is one more interesting thing in noble silence, because generally we don't say only to keep silence, but we say noble silence. So why we use the term noble along with silence? At home also, sometimes when we have conflict, when we have anger, we are angry with someone, then we don't talk with him or her, maybe among the friends as well, among the neighbors as well. When we have anger, we don't talk with them, so we keep silence. So can we say that noble silence? Of course not. That is not the noble silence. That is just the silence. Similarly, we might be sitting on our sitting place. We might have closed our eyes, but we might be thinking this and that. We might be wandering without observing the presently arising object. That one is also not a noble silence. The Pali word for noble is Arya. Arya means pure, and the second meaning is high graded. So it has two meaning. Number first is pure and high graded. When we keep observing the presently arising object, when mindfulness is present, at that time our mind is pure, because kilesas have no chance to arise. Kilesas have no rooms in our mind stream. At that time, mind is pure. So when we keep observing the presently arising object, at that time mind is pure. Then only we can say we are silent at that time and pure as well. So we can call noble silence. So in order to be noble silence, we have to keep observing the presently arising object so that we can purify our mind, and that is called noble silence. Otherwise, like we are not talking with anyone, but we are just walking here and there, without being mindful, looking here and there. Maybe we might be sitting, but letting the mind to think this and that, letting the mind to wander here and there. If we are in that condition, then that is not the noble silence, that is just the silence. That's why Panya Vasayatha Mugo means we have to behave as ignorant who does not know anything, and we have to behave like a dumb or like a mute who can't speak, but at the same time we have to keep observing the presently arising object. If we do so, then we are practicing respectfully. Fourth one is Balawa Dubbalo Riva. Balawa Dubbalo Riva. It means though we have sufficient energy, strong energy, we have to behave like weak. We have to behave like a weak person though we have enough strength. I believe that all of the meditators, participants have enough energy in order to do their activities, in order to do their daily activities or the performances. But though we have strength, we have to behave like a weak person. A weak person does not move quickly, swiftly, suddenly. He or she does his performances slowly, gradually. So that is what meditators need to do. Meditators should do everything slowly, gradually, not suddenly. Have to do gradually, smoothly, gently. So in this way, if we behave like weak person, then we have to do everything slowly. That is also what I have been talking from the very first, since the first day, that we have to do everything slowly. Whatever we do, whether we stand up, whether we sit down, whether we stretch, bend our hand, whether we have lunch, breakfast, drinking water, whatever we do, we have to do slowly. If we do quickly, we can't focus. We can't catch the object on right time. Physicalities, mentalities, they appear and disappear swiftly, very fastly, in super fast manner. Physicalities and mentalities appear and disappear, appear and disappear. In order to discover the appearance and the disappearance of physicalities and the mentalities, we should try to do slowly as possible as we can. This morning at the interview, I told few yogis to observe the intention mind, and I think this should be applied by all yogis. Now you should try to note the intention mind before action. Not all the action, because right now it is not possible to note the intention mind of the all action, but some action, some obvious action. Before doing that action, it is better to note the intention mind. Like before, when you are about to sit, not wanting to sit, then only you sit down and not sitting. When you are about to stand up, not wanting to stand up, then only standing up. When you are about to drink water, not wanting to drink, drinking water. When you are about to put on take off slippers, then not wanting to do so. When you are about to bow down, not wanting to bow down. So in this way, you may note the intention mind of obvious actions. So in order to note the intention mind, we again need to do slowly. If we do quickly, swiftly, we will not have enough time to note the intention mind. Because noting intention mind really helps in order to improve, in order to progress in meditation. Not only just to progress, but it helps to develop the insight knowledges, like the discriminating knowledge into physicality and the mentality, mind and matter. It helps in order to develop cause and effect, knowledge into cause and effect. It helps. So that's why in order to improve in meditation, in order to get a foundation to develop insight knowledge in future, so noting the intention mind really helps. In future, we note the intention mind of the minor activities. All the physical activities or the performances have intention to do so, like moving fingers. We mostly keeps moving our fingers. It has intention to do so. We move our body, we lean right side, we lean left side, we lean forward, backward. They have intention to do so. We move eyeballs from right to left, left to right, up to down, down to up, in order to look here and there. There is the intention to do so. Even blinking eyes has intention to do so. Swallowing saliva, sneezing, yawning, coughing. In those activities, there are intention to do so. Later, yogis become able to catch the intention mind of all these activities. Not knowing what we intend to do, we do wrong deeds, we do mistakes, not only verbally, but not only physically, but verbally also, mentally also. We say something, then we feel guilty. Now we think something and we feel guilty of thinking so. So as mindfulness gets better, concentration gets better, meditators become able to know the intention of doing something, intention of saying something, intention of thinking something. So before doing something, before saying something, before even thinking or planning something, yogis will realize what mind intends to do bodily, what mind intends to say, what mind intends to think or plan or so on. When we become capable to note the intention mind of physicality, physical action, verbal action and mental action, then we will have control over our physical, verbal and the mental activities. Then we will be able to prevent oneself to not do wrong deeds, bodily wrong deeds, verbal wrong deeds, mental wrong deeds or unwholesome deeds. Because now mind knows that what we tends to do, bodily what we tends to do, good deeds or bad deeds, wholesome deeds or unwholesome deeds. What we want to say, good things, bad things, right things, wrong things, false things, or suitable, unsuitable. Similarly, mentally, now we know that whether the thing that we are going to think is right one, wrong one, or wholesome, unwholesome. When we know that, oh, this is right, oh, this is wrong, if it is not right, then we can stop. We can stop to not to do. And if it is good, of course, we can do those things. So that is why it is really helpful to note the intention mind in many aspects. So that's why I insist, I ask from here to yogis, try to note more intention mind and daily activities. So in this way, mainly 4 things mentioned under the feature of practicing respectfully, and they are behaving like a blind, behaving like a deaf, behaving like a ignorant and dumb, and behaving like a weak person. So these are the 4 things we should apply in order to improve, in order to progress in our meditation. Also, we should not discriminate. Oh, this is sitting meditation. Oh, I will work hard in sitting meditation, but when it is time to do walking, let's work hard. That is discrimination. When it is about to practice in daily activities, then again we practice less. We don't work hard because discrimination is there. So if we discriminate in that way, then that is also being disrespectful for practice. And if we do this, if we show disrespect to practice, then again we can't improve. Sometimes we do discrimination with objects. If it is main object, primary object, we work hard to observe. If it is secondary object, we don't observe, we don't use full energy to observe. For example, when it is about to observe the unpleasant object, we don't try much hard. So in that way also we might be discriminating. When we have to observe thinking and thoughts, at that time also we may not be using sufficient energy to observe that object. When the object is interesting, we might be applying enough energy. When object is not interesting, then we discriminate again, we don't use enough energy. So if we discriminate in this way, so that is also disrespectful practice that we should not do. So that's why may all meditators be able to be respectful, or may you all be able to practice in reverential manner so that you can improve in your meditation. Means you can improve your mindfulness, concentration, and may you be able to develop vipassana analysis. Imaya Dhamma Patipattiya Buddhang Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipattiya Dhammang Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipattiya Sanghang Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipattiya Mata Pitaro Pujemi. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipattiya Acariye Pujemi. Ada Imaya Patipadaya Jara Maranamha Parimucci Sami. Idam me punyam asawakkhaya wahang hotu. Idam me silang magga phalanya nassa pacayo hotu. Imang no punya bhagang samba sattanang dema. Sabbe satta sukhita